take projection.
Welcome everybody to Taking On Sports. I am TD. That is Greg. Greg, how you been, man?
I am good. How are you today, sir?
I'm good. We are back.
I know
It's
they
been a
missed us.
while. I know you missed us, folks. We are back. It's been a good few weeks, over a
Yeah.
month, in fact. Uh, we're gonna try to cover everything we missed. We'll start with what's going on now and work our way back, and hopefully we hit everything we need to hit.
Hmm.
If not, we'll figure it out next week. Uh, but yeah, I guess let's start. You want to start NBA playoffs?
Yeah, we can definitely start there. Um,
I'm about to say, I know you're happy about it.
ah,
Western
man.
Conference Finals,
I
Dallas
do.
up
Yes,
three
sir.
zero.
Up 3-0.
Tell me, as a Mavericks fan and then as a basketball fan, did you see it coming?
Not 3-0. Not definitely not 3-0. I'm not. I was one that thought we could definitely win this series, but I thought for sure. And hopefully we stay on it. But it was taking much more likely a 6 or 7 game series. I mean, the Timberwolves are playing, great ball. I mean, they beat what we all thought was the sure favorite coming out the West, and the Nuggets there. They were able to beat them last series, and and Edwards has turned into that guy.
Hmm.
And man, but just to have gone in there and got the 2 wins uh, there in Minnesota, and then able to keep it going tonight. There, got down in the third quarter today, able to bounce back in the fourth, and just the man, just what Luka and Kyrie have turned into as a duo. It's everything we had hoped for when they brought Kyrie in last year. So maybe a year later, but hey, I'll take it. Than what we had thought, ended that last year. But man, they've taken it to a different level. Just to be at this point is amazing. It's not as a Mavs fan. It just it's been a lot. It's been up and down thing. Doesn't happen very often. We're just with on the verge of what just our third NBA finals there. So I mean, it's sweet when it happens because it's not the most common thing.
What to you is the difference in the Kyrie Luca pair working this year as opposed to last year?
you know, I I think I think some of it's just the chemistry between them. I think I'm pretty close. They really seem to be on the same page. But it's also just, what the Mavs did, just with after that trade deadline. I mean, we just hit money in that trade deadline, bringing in Gafford, um, bringing in, I can't think of his name right now, PJ from Charlotte. I mean, they were just,
PJ Washington, yeah.
PJ Washington definitely just turned our whole season around because, I mean, up to that point, I mean, we were okay, but I mean, at that point, we weren't even, we may have been in the 8th seed or, playing type situation. Really not on the verge of going anywhere. And that really seemed to just completely change our season around. Um, this went from a team that's, and now everybody really seems to have that confidence. I mean, they've, playing good defense, clutch shots. I mean, it's just amazing what this team has turned into. Beating a tough Clippers team and then being the number one seed out the West, and now on the verge of possibly sweeping the Timberwolves. I mean, if someone had told me that was where we would be, at the All Star break, I would have told you you're crazy. But yeah, it's fun. It's been a good run, and hopefully we're on can continue it and close thing. We don't want to give them any opportunity to get back to Minnesota. So hopefully we can close it out on Tuesday and we have some time off before it looks like looks like it'll definitely be, if we get there, it'll be Boston because, they're up 3-0 now as well. So,
Hmm.
uh, but we'll save that for later. Gotta, stay in the present and get that last win before we worry about anything else. Even though 3-0 is pretty almost definite, as close as
Uh-huh.
guarantee in the NBA. But yeah,
I'm
still have
about to
to get
say
that one
this.
last one.
I don't
Hasn't
think
happened yet.
no team has ever blown a 3-0 lead in the NBA playoffs. There
Yeah,
was that a couple years ago when Boston came back with Miami and forced the game 7 but did not win
right,
it. Um,
right.
but there's been no Red Sox
Hmm.
Yankees moment
No.
in the NBA. But yeah, I think you touched on it there. The additions, the trade line additions, PJ Washington.
Hmm.
Um, I think we should mention Daniel Gafford too. He's
Yeah,
been
Daniel
so huge
Gafford.
inside.
Yeah, been
Um,
really used because that allowed,
mhm,
Lively being a rookie, and it took a little off his plate as
mhm.
far as being a big man, for him to come off the bench and just learn, And I think he's going to turn to a much better player because of, bringing in Gafford. So I mean, and I know that, and and then Derek Jones is brought, and man, it's just, I mean, it's just a bunch of people that coming together. Outside Luke and Kyrie, you would never think that that was your uh, uh, the team that would be, this close to, they worked well together, and they really have a chemistry that's, you know, seems very similar to what we did to the chemistry in 2000 and 2011.
Yeah, yeah.
But
And kind of a similar build. You build around your stars.
yeah,
You get a bunch of role players to do their
right,
jobs, and
exactly.
PJ Washington stepping up, hitting threes.
Man, he's been clutch,
Get
especially that
so
last
clutch.
series.
Hmm.
Against OKC was so clutch, and and
Hmm.
just then and then you look at what Kyrie. I mean, he's just changed his whole storyline. Coming into Dallas, people said, "Oh,
Hmm.
he's a cancer. He's a locker room destroyer." I mean, that was a thought after his tenure in Boston. If fair or not, who knows? But he's really changed his whole storyline. So it'll be you know. Definitely changes his legacy, and it'd be fun to see him possibly going up against his old team there in Boston. So that'd be fun.
Hmm. I'm sure he would get a warm reception in the
You
garden
know it.
there.
You know it.
Um, but yeah, speaking of those Celtics, we'll switch over to the East now. They
Hmm.
up 3-0 themselves on
Right.
Indiana,
Yeah.
another kind of upstart team to make it. Um,
Yeah,
after
for
knocking
sure.
off the Knicks. It's been a good series.
Yeah, it has. I
Even though
mean,
it's 3-0, overtime
yeah,
game one. Boston kind of, easily won game two, but then
yeah.
game three came back from 18 points down. Drew Holiday gets a
Hmm.
big steal to seal it.
Right. And I mean, the Pacers. I mean, there's no more victories in basketball, but man, when you see Halliburton's out, you're thinking, man, they're gonna get rolled.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I mean, yeah, man, y'all must feel bad though, man. They had so many chances to win game one and
Oh, oh, yeah.
game
Oh,
three.
man.
I mean, they could easily, just similar to my series. I mean, they could very well be Timberwolves up, just like, it's
Hmm.
just, that's, it comes down to, well, Boston, they just clutch at the right moment. And I think some of that just, they've been there. They've been in this situation, before there. So they know what it takes to get to the NBA Finals. So some of that experience, and they just. And you'd have to think though, if Boston doesn't win the championship this year, I don't know if they ever will.
Yeah, I was about to say
Because
they're kind of playing out their story on their own, is trying
yeah,
to the
yeah,
Tatum and Brown combo is done
yeah,
well over the past 7 years or so, but
yeah, but not
they've
overcome
never
the
reached the championship. Yeah.
right. So
Um,
there's a lot of pressure there, but they've had I mean, they probably had somewhat of an easier run than what I mean, they played the Heat without Jimmy Butler. I mean, they handled business. Then last series against Cleveland. I mean, I don't think anybody really expected Cleveland to give them too much of a thing just because I didn't think it was a good matchup. But they've handled business. I mean, it may not be the most dominating thing, but they've done things when they've had to. And then they're on the verge of is this Jay winning? Is this their third NBA Finals, I believe? So I mean,
Hmm.
you have to. I mean, just the Celtics, one of those franchises that just making the finals isn't good enough. There's a few franchises like that, of course. So anything less than championship is considered a failure, and they're kind of one of those NBA teams that fall into that area there. So, but they've done what they needed to do, and probably looking like a Mavs Celtics finals, and that should be an entertaining one.
Oh, for sure. I think, like you said too, Kyrie going against his old team, Luca
Hmm.
finally in the finals, trying to cement his
Yeah.
status as one of the premier players in
Right.
basketball. The Tatum Brown combo trying to win their title,
Yeah.
cement their status as kind of a dynamic
Exactly.
duo.
Yeah.
Boston just being Boston, trying to add to its total.
Hmm.
Um, Yeah, but like you said, they got to handle business first. Mavericks get game four at home. The
Yeah.
Celtics still in Indiana for game four tomorrow night or
Yeah.
tonight, I guess, as you listen to this on Monday. We're recording late Sunday night here. Yeah, it's been. Any other thoughts on the playoffs as a whole so far? Any other stories? The OKC or New York's run or anything
It's
jump out
been
to you?
I it's been fun. I mean, the Dallas OKC series was lots of fun. You know, and then the Knicks Pacers. I mean, so 90ish, to get that in the playoffs, and it was a hell of a series. And you hated for the Knicks that they, just fell apart physically. So
Yeah,
many injuries to overcome there.
injuries, and they
But
were just you could just tell they were just tired.
tired. Yeah, I mean, they've been
Yeah.
through a lot. I mean, and with Jalen Brunson, clearly has moved his status to superstar level with what he
Hmm.
did this year. But continuing with that same question, just for I guess it continued with the Knicks. Though, I mean, what could they do different to move on to the to NBA Finals? I mean, do they have enough? Do they need to bring in somebody? And then you look at, their coach, that's his style. I mean, his style wears the players down so much. We saw it in Chicago with injuries. We've seen it in New York with injuries. The Tom Thibodeau's style allow you to go an entire playoff season and, with enough health to win a championship. And, so but it was it's fun though. I mean, the Knicks were a fun team to see. The Garden had electric and playoff season. I mean, you love to see it because we were used to it as kids, but it's not something you see that often
Hmm.
as adults. So it was fun to see that.
No, yeah, it was really cool to see that rejuvenated Garden crowd, or
Hmm.
yeah, Madison Square Garden crowd. The Knicks, yeah, it's like as '90s kids like we were, the Knicks in the playoffs playing just hard basketball is
That was just
something we
something
got
you,
used to for a
yeah,
long time. Yeah.
right,
Um, like you said, it is. I think the question they got to ask themselves is: do they need to add some pieces here and there, or do they
hmm,
just need to run it back and hope they stay healthy? Because
yeah,
alongside the guys that got hurt in this series, the guys that they were missing even before, like a Mitchell
exactly,
Robinson, they were missing their big men down low.
yeah,
So it's tough, yeah, but it'll be interesting all season to see what they do.
yeah.
Um,
And then, of course, you look on the Western Conference, and of course, the biggest story of last round was Minnesota beating Denver.
hmm
We had thought, Denver was clearly the favorite to run it back. I mean, they had all the people in place. It's shocking that they lost 3 or 4 at home, including a
Hmm.
20-point lead in Game 7. I mean, wow. Who would have thought that would
Oh,
have happened?
yeah, just amazing. And those first two games, Minnesota going up 2-0, and just their defense looked like would never solve it. And then Denver got
Yeah.
their act together, and then just a
Okay.
great series.
Yeah.
Both sides, the conference semis, the quarterfinals overall,
It
just a
was
great round
great,
everywhere. Yeah,
great
like every
basketball.
series was great. I mean, I think we had what three, two 7-game series. The
Hmm.
Mavs and Thunder went 6 close games. It was an exciting
Yeah.
series. The Celtics were the only one. They kind of blew out Cleveland there.
Yeah. I mean, that was really
Speaking of
the only
teams,
bad series that, I
it
mean,
was,
as
and
far as,
yes, I was going to say, speaking of teams, it probably I don't think the Cleveland team we see next year will be drastically different. I think
yeah.
maybe Donovan Mitchell, Jared Allen. I think there's going to be some
Yeah.
pieces moving about.
And it'll be interesting to see what they do with their coaching situation because, they just
Hmm.
got
Hmm.
rid of, but I'm like, man, it's nothing crazier than the NBA coaching carousel because, I mean, there's just no patience in the NBA. I mean, realistically, what did the Cleveland front office really think was going to be? Did they think that if they had a different coach, they were going to beat the Celtics team with that team? I mean,
I don't know. Yeah,
I thought they did a great job. I mean, to get to that point, I know it's about winning championships, but sometimes at the same time, you have to be realistic with where your franchise is at. you know, did they really think that that team was going to beat the Celtics? I mean, was he done if he had, were they already looking to get rid of him, or was that the final thing? Like, wow. I mean, two straight playoffs. Got a series win this year. I mean, I don't know what you could have expected more from Eric Bickerstaff. But I'm kind of shocked
yeah.
that they were.
It was weird. Yeah, the to see the report too that he was too hands on during coaching or during practice. It was weird.
Yeah, I'm
Uh,
like, what?
it's just funny how drastically different that franchise is with and without LeBron. With LeBron,
Hmm.
it's like they have it together, and then without him, they're like, "What the hell are you doing, man?"
Yeah,
It's very, I don't know.
yeah,
It's very
yeah,
very Browns esque. Uh,
yeah, very much so.
but
It's
yeah,
like out of the LeBron years, it's like relax, guys.
hmm,
Y'all were
yeah.
fine.
Um,
But
but yeah, I think elsewhere in the playoffs, just to touch on a couple things. I think we all saw SGA become a bona fide superstar.
oh yeah,
Absolutely, and that's a team too with all the assets they have draft wise and young players. You got to think that
that's gonna
maybe
be a team
soon
that's
they're going
gonna
to
be
pull the
around for a
trigger on.
while.
Yeah, they're going to be around for a while, but you also got to think they might pull the trigger on like a big trade to add one more big piece
Yeah,
because they're almost there.
yeah.
They're real close.
And just with what that franchise has done throughout the years, I mean, you gotta think about. I mean, after losing, KD one, that's for a a small city franchise for NBA levels. I mean, that's almost a killer. You lose Westbrook, you lose KD, and you don't even fall off too hard. I mean, you brought it, that before SGA really took over. I mean, they brought in Chris Paul. They made the playoffs. I mean, that looked like that was never going to turn into anything. And then then now the SGA is a bona fide star. I mean, their front office has done a hell of a job. And then with all the draft picks they have coming up and what they got in, return for guys, and man,
Yeah,
they're in a good spot.
for sure. Let's see elsewhere. You got the Suns kind of flaming out. T Wolves
Yeah,
just swept them.
yeah,
It'd be interesting to see what they do in the off season if they break
right,
it up or try to add some more. I think the Sixers might be at a crossroad.
yeah,
The Bucks, same thing with them. Or were they healthy enough, or do they just need to add some more pieces back around Giannis?
yeah.
Then you got your young teams, kind of like the Magic. A good season for them.
They did have a heck
Tough,
of a season.
yeah, tough first round loss, a 7 game series against Cleveland, but that's one of those maybe just more maturity. The Clippers are another one of those older teams. Like, is it? Do you break up the Harden, Paul, Kawhi thing? Do you run it back? What do you do with that?
Yeah.
My Pelicans, just a cruel twist of
No,
fate that
yeah.
Zion is playing his best game as a
Best
professional
basketball.
in that
And
playing
then he gets
game, and
hurt.
then
Yeah.
gets hurt
No,
with what
that was
four
savage.
minutes to go after taking the
Yeah.
lead or whatever.
That was
It's
crazy.
it's cruel, yeah. But there's a lot of rumblings that maybe Brandon Ingram's on the block this
Yeah.
summer, or and maybe CJ McCollum's time is up
Wow.
there. Be interesting to see what they do there, and can they ever get a full healthy season out of Zion? And
You're right.
this was it. He played over 70 games this year. Like I said, in that playing game against the Lakers, he was playing his best game as a pro. It was
Right.
every bit of potential that everyone saw in Zion was on display that game, and just a unfortunate, tweak of the hamstring, and
Yeah.
that's
It's
sports.
tough.
Yeah.
Yeah. It can be cruel at times. I mean,
hmm And then, and then you see what happens without him. A great game one against the Thunder there, but then they lost in the end.
all right.
Speaking of teams that had 47 chances in the last couple of minutes to win and just
Jeez.
couldn't do
Yeah.
it, and it seemed like that just deflated them. After that, it was an easy sweep for the Thunder.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
But they had their game. They definitely had game one. I
yeah,
thought for
they
sure
had
that,
their
man,
yeah.
that was tough.
I thought CJ taking that last shot. I thought he hit it.
Yeah.
But it's tough, But
It is.
so yeah, we're hitting that point. We'll watch the rest of the conference finals and watch, like you said, what should be a really good NBA finals, and then we move on the draft time, and probably the least anticipated draft of all time, or
Of
at least during
all
our
time.
lifetime.
Wow.
Um,
Yeah. There's
it's
definitely not a lot of, I think the biggest, well, as Alabama fan, the biggest drama is,
hmm
a couple of days if Mark Sears is coming back or not. I think that's more of what I'm looking at than anything as far as the draft itself. He
exactly.
still has,
There's
what,
the,
3 days, yes, and what, the 29th, and
yeah,
it's
it's
looking like
Wednesday.
he's probably going, but you never know.
It's weird, because we see, it's the weakest draft class in a while. The
Yeah,
Hawks got the number one pick in the lottery,
and they're
and
probably
like it
like,
seems
great.
like, yeah, and like fans are like, well, okay, cool.
And it's not like you could
Speaking
trade
of
it for
speaking of
anything.
trade people, yeah, exactly. Like, I've been reading and listening to some stuff, and it's like people are equating like a number one pick this year to like having like the eighth or ninth pick, and that's crazy.
Yeah,
But also, speaking of trade people, some rumors that maybe Trey Young might be on the
yeah,
block there
which is
in
crazy.
Atlanta. Yeah, really
Oh,
crazy. Or maybe Dejounte Murray back on the block.
hmm.
But we'll see. Yeah, like
Yeah,
you said, that's a good transition to. Last time we talked, Alabama had just lost to UConn.
uh-huh.
Great Final Four run.
Yeah,
Did everything they could. Of course, the big news: Grant Nelson is back.
yeah.
Um,
Brand Nelson's coming back. Latrell Wright's coming back.
hmm
And, and we did an epic job in the transfer portal again.
Added some outstanding additions in the transfer portal for Alabama. Trying to think of his name, Youngblood, the
Yeah,
guy from USF, Conference Player of the
USF.
Year, AAC Conference Player of the Year. That's huge
Tuscaloosa native.
addition. Uh huh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
coming in. And
Um.
then the big man from Rutgers.
That's
Uh,
yep. Clifford.
and of course, yeah, I
Uh,
mean, average is almost 3 or 4 blocks a game, which is
hmm
huge because that's the type of presence we need on the inside. Some of what we may have been the reason we did make the national championship game this year. Just some
hmm
more inside presence. So that's huge, and of course the transfer we took from Auburn. Still
hmm
he's a 5-star guy. I'm sure. I mean, it sounds like things have soured there on the plains of Bruce. So to bring that in, if he shines in Tuscaloosa, how sweet would that be? But I mean, I mean, on paper, I mean, this is a very talented team. You know, we got the Philbin dude, Reggie was going to Kansas. He's coming to Tuscaloosa now. So I
Hmm.
mean, we're just in a great spot for basketball. I mean, if you know Sears does come back, I mean that'd be great. But I mean, whether he does or doesn't, I mean we're still going to be in a great, a great spot. And you know, with that, we'll see what team will turn into. You know, a lot of new faces again, but you know, some guys coming back that want to finish the story and win a national championship. So I mean, definitely an exciting time in Alabama basketball.
Yeah, it's already stacking up like to be just a monster roster, even with
Yeah.
a couple of the losses we did have. Rylan Griffin,
Hmm.
he
Yeah.
went to
That was a
Kansas
shocker.
himself.
Yeah.
It was a shock. You figured he'd be definitely a starter next year, but
Yeah. You know.
good. Best of luck to Rylan.
Yeah. I mean, he had some
Unless we
huge
run into the
moments.
Jayhawks,
Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, like you said, we've added, a Cliff Omarue. I'm not
Yeah.
sure how to big Clifford. Um, we added, like you said, what's his face from Auburn Johnson or whatever. Lost who is it? Sam Walters did transfer out to
Yeah.
Michigan, I think. Is that where he went?
Right. Yeah. That's where he's
That
going.
sounds right. Um, but if Mark Sears comes back, it's probably the best roster in Alabama basketball history.
Yeah.
Aiden Holloway, that's the guy from
Yeah.
Auburn.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah. Yeah.
let me
He's had
try and
3 years.
yeah, and he's
Yeah,
got a
plenty of
lot of
time.
we also got a guy from Pepperdine, Houston Millette,
Yeah.
another perimeter
Another
guy, and of course
shooter.
we mentioned
Yeah.
Chris Youngblood from South Florida, who's like we said, that's a American Athletic Conference Player of the Year, and
Yeah.
that's no small thing. Any
No.
conference,
No.
it could have been the Ivy League. If you get the Conference Player of the Year, you're getting a
Yeah.
solid
He's a
player.
talented guy. Yeah.
Uh huh. And all seemingly guys that really fit into Nate Oates' system, and that's not even to speak of some of these high school commits we're getting.
Yeah. Yeah. Man. Yeah. What, three, two McDonald's All Americans? I
Hmm.
mean, this is unprecedented for us. And then the other thing too. I mean, supposedly, they say with Clifford that North Carolina offered like a couple million, and for him, no matter what the situation was, for him to actually pick Alabama over the likes of North Carolina just shows
Hmm.
you where we're at in the basketball world. That people are taking us serious.
Yeah,
Because
exactly.
no other time would you look and be, man, people are actually picking Alabama over North Carolina for basketball. That's just
Yeah,
crazy.
hey, it's amazing. We said it before, but Nate Oates is the man, and he's changed the
Yeah,
culture of what we should be
yeah,
as a program.
right.
But yeah, you mentioned it. We got two McDonald's All Americans, a total of one 5-star, three 4 stars. Darian Reed, small forward from Georgia, Aiden Sherrill, big man from Detroit, LeBaron Philon, he's a guy from Mobile that picked us over the Jayhawks,
Hmm.
and another guy, Nasir Cunningham from New Jersey, another
A
kind
lot
of
of
wing
talent.
guy. Yeah, a lot of talent. So yeah, big things coming, and like we said, it's we'll know Wednesday if Mark Sears is going in the draft or if he's deciding to come back. If maybe we got that NIL offer right, and but we know Nate Oates has come out and said he said the what the decision is if he can get a guaranteed contract. If he'll definitely make an NBA squad, then he's gonna go.
Yeah,
But if it's looking like there's no guarantee, or maybe he might get a two-way contract at best, and he'll come back.
yeah. But I mean,
So
either way, I mean,
yeah, yeah.
he arguably had the one of the greatest single seasons in Alabama basketball history. And we've had a
Hmm.
few recently, but I mean, just for the level he took the program. And even more so, especially just because there wasn't that there was we expected him to be good, but you didn't know how good he was going to be because he hadn't been the guy before in Tuscaloosa. And for him to
Hmm.
just take over completely and be the leader that he was, I mean, and just so many clutch threes and man, just one of the most special single seasons in Tuscaloosa ever.
Hmm.
So I mean, either way, I mean, it'd be epic to have him come back. But I mean, I understand you gotta test those NBA waters at some point. And like I said, if there's a year to do it, this is definitely the year if there's any question because just just not the prettiest draft class ever. On paper anyway. May turn out better than we expect. I mean, but the expectations are pretty low for this class from the star power, especially compared to last year. There's all the hype of Wemby, and this year there's none.
Yeah, yeah, it's looking like the guy that'll be number one, a French guy, Sar, big
Yeah,
man, defensive potential, kind of on a Rudy Gobert level, but
right.
we'll see. Yeah, we'll see. Uh, I guess that's probably good on basketball. Moving on, we'll stay Alabama sports real quick. Big day for the girls. The softball team today
Man, epic,
won the super regional in Knoxville.
epic.
After blowing a late lead Friday in game one, they came back yesterday, won a 14 inning game.
Hmm.
And, just for folks that don't follow softball, they only play 7 innings, so that's
So it's
the
two
equivalent of an
games,
18. Yeah, that's 2 games. That's 2 games.
two
Won it
games,
on a
and then the
walk-off.
walk off the bottom of the 14th.
Yeah, and then
It's
this
epic.
today hit a first inning grand slam to go up 4-0,
Yeah,
and then endured like almost a 3 hour rain
3 hour
delay,
rain delay. Yeah,
and
and
held
then it
on.
came down to the
Tennessee
last bat.
was
Bases
Tennessee had the
loaded,
bases
down three.
loaded. Yeah, but Alabama hangs on. Unexpectedly make the
Yeah,
World Series this year. A team that
yeah.
has
I
struggled a lot at
mean,
times.
it
The
has.
14 overall seed, and a lot of people thought that was generous. That Alabama even got seeded this year in the regionals.
Yeah, I mean, it was a tougher season. Just the a lot of the same issues showed up. This has been a while since Alabama's had consistent hitting, and that was our
Hmm.
biggest reason why, Montana Phelps never won a national championship. And then without her
Yeah,
this year, it showed at times, we didn't, our pitching was good, but I mean, we didn't have the lids in there. So, I mean, it was, we didn't win a lot of series this year. First time under Patrick Murphy, they didn't, were under 500 in SEC play, first round exit in the SEC tournament. And you have to, I was shocked when they actually got a regional at home. But they won three there, and then they down the road against one of the best teams in America, in Tennessee, and win in Knoxville and give Tennessee. The sweetest part is give Tennessee their first SEC series loss of the season in the biggest series prior to the College World Series. I mean, it doesn't get better than
yeah, right. It's good
that.
to beat Tennessee in any sport,
Yeah, it always is.
especially they whooped us in the World Series last year in the opening game, and so a
Yeah,
good measure of payback.
yeah.
But Alabama will definitely they're the lowest seed in the World Series. We'll run that off real quick. You got number one overall seed Texas against Stanford. These are all games
Hmm.
starting Thursday. Texas against Stanford. They're the 8th seed. The 4-5 matchup: Florida, Oklahoma State. You got Oklahoma, the dynasty of college softball, the 2 seed this year. They'll face
Yeah.
10 seed Duke, first ever World Series appearance for
At the late
Duke softball.
ninth inning win
Hmm.
against Mizzou today. That was crazy too.
Yeah. Talk about an absolute rise of a program. They've only had a softball program for 7 years.
Yeah,
So
that's
that's some
impressive.
impressive stuff. Yeah, for the Blue
It
Devils.
is.
And of course, we get the Tide. Our opening game's the 6 seed UCLA.
Right against UCLA. Yeah,
That's the first one, 11 o'clock Central Time on Thursday morning. So should be fun. It's always college. The both the women's and the men's. The College World Series is always exciting.
that's good. Yeah.
to
I
watch, and
mean,
we'll see if the Tide's got some more miracles in them.
yeah. But it's similar to the basketball team. Going to the postseason, kind
Hmm.
of not looking the best, and just to take it to a different level at the right time there. I think this is the first time when the I think the fan base was starting to turn the heat up on Patrick Murphy himself. Just because it's some of the same issues. Not being able to hit the ball consistently. Lost
Yeah,
people to the transfer portal. People wondering, hey, man, where's this program headed? But the players, I mean, just they put it just an epic job. No matter what happens in Oklahoma City, this has been a special run for everything that they had to endure this year. So kudos to them.
yeah. On the baseball side, on the guys' side, disappointing into the
They
regular
were,
season. SEC, lost the series to Auburn.
yeah,
Did
always
win a
out.
nice last game, but then yeah,
Right.
the first
Got
game single elimination loss against
bombed
South
by South
Carolina.
Carolina. Yeah,
Yeah, but all by all accounts, they will make a regional somewhere.
yeah,
Probably as like a 3 seed, maybe a
right.
4 seed down there. But hey, all you gotta do is get in.
Get in and you'll see.
Uh-huh. And
And
then they announced the regional sites tonight. It will be Georgia hosting in Athens, of course. So your hosts are Georgia, North Carolina, Virginia, Clemson, Texas A&M, Oregon State, Arkansas, East Carolina, Tennessee, Kentucky, Oklahoma, NC State, UC Santa Barbara, Oklahoma State, Florida State, and Arizona. So
mm,
obviously Alabama won't be going to any of the SEC schools. So you figure that maybe one of those ACC schools paired up against, maybe UNC,
yeah,
Virginia, or Clemson.
right. I've heard, people are thinking Clemson or
Mhm,
Stillwater too,
mhm.
but
But yeah, we'll
we
see.
have a
They announced that Monday morning at 11.
yeah,
So probably by the
we'll
time
have an
some of y'all
idea.
listen to this, it'll already be
We'll know where
announced.
we're
Yeah,
going.
yeah,
Man, you'd
that's
have to
an.
think we did enough to make a regional.
Hmm.
Would have liked to have done better in the SEC tournament to possibly get a second year at home with the
Yeah, for
regional
sure.
series at home like last year, but wasn't in the cards. But overall, I think this team was better because yeah, it didn't end like we wanted it to. But throughout the year, we didn't win the most series. But I mean, we did beat Tennessee in the series. We did beat Arkansas in the series. I mean, we we beat we didn't win the series, but we beat A&M. I mean, we beat some good teams along the way. It'd be interesting to see what this if this team puts on a little magic like they did last year. Make it to a super regional again, but we'll see
Hmm.
what this team wants to do. I mean, they're a team that, before that Auburn loss, I was excited where this team was going, but, we'll see if they can rebound. But yeah, like you said, once you're here, that's all that matters. It's a new season, so yeah,
Yeah,
I think we
get in and see what happens. Um,
exactly,
but either way,
exactly.
it's kind of what we've talked about in basketball, making the second weekend every year.
Hmm.
Alabama baseball is a program that should be making the NCAA tournament
Oh
every
yeah,
year.
yeah, that should be
Went a
without
long
doubt.
time without doing it. I think they were
Hmm.
consistently there when we were in school, even
Yeah,
hosted a
we
super
were
regional or two.
right. Yeah, we were decent when we were in school.
Hmm. Yeah.
We were pretty good. Yeah, but yeah, after that they really fell off.
Hmm.
They had a couple, regional appearances, but yeah, I mean, last year was the most noise we made in a long time, making that super regional before losing to Wake Forest. But man, it's been a while. That was '99 since they've come to Omaha, so it's been a while
Yep.
there. So
Hmm.
I mean, but I think they're headed in the right direction. It's just man, it's just hard to the SEC. It's just such a gauntlet of a conference. I mean, yeah. So, but I think we're headed in the right direction. It's just maybe we
Hmm.
can add some people out to transfer portal, not lose folks like we did last year. And we'll see what. But we're if we could make another super regional, that would be huge. But it's gonna be tough going on the road against the likes of maybe a Clemson or North Carolina. But
Mhm.
hey, at least we should have that opportunity. So it'll be fun to see what they do with it.
Yeah, this would make 3 out of 4 years in the NCAA tournament after six
Yeah,
not in it. So,
going in the right
like you said,
direction.
it's yeah, exactly going the right direction. It's something we should, you got to start there. You got to make it every
Yeah,
year, and then you can start expecting to get
right,
seeds and hosting
right,
super regionals.
exactly,
It's just
right,
like basketball. You got to make it every year before you can make the second weekend. So,
exactly.
but things looking up in Alabama sports.
Oh yeah, it's good. It's been a
Yeah.
a fun year. I mean, you got to think about it. I mean, maybe no national championships, but I mean, just to run in football, run in basketball, the softball run. I mean, I can't say I watch a lot of Alabama golf, but dude won a national championship in golf yesterday. I mean, I mean, so I mean I mean, as a sports school in general, I mean, everyone's older a football school only, but I mean, we're showing up in a lot of different areas. I mean, we're definitely turning into one of those schools that we should be on that level. Where we're competing in a lot of different sports because, I mean, we have the revenue and the passion and facilities to compete. So, it's good to see.
Yeah, Alabama and a tennis NCAA tennis title yesterday, a singles title.
Yeah. And hey,
Philip Planisek, uh, the
impressive.
golf team. They I think those championships start tomorrow. Track and field, of course, they're in there. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Gymnastics made what the super
And fun.
regionals or
Yeah, no, we made it.
semifinals something.
Yeah, we made it to. Well, I know we made it
Yeah,
to the national championship. We didn't make it to the final thing there, but
yeah.
they consistently at least make it to the national championship uh,
Hmm.
location. So I mean, man, it's fun being an Alabama sports fan.
It
Definitely
is.
is. We show
Yeah,
up.
it's So yeah, now again, we implore you, Mister Greg Byrne, build our arena, please. Uh,
Please keep it going.
we yeah, we actually worked an event the other night. One of the Yay Alabama, the NIL collective, and of course, getting our
Oh
little
wow,
talk. Yeah, it was
yeah,
cool.
cool,
Kalen DeBoer spoke, Nate Oates spoke, Greg Byrne
nice,
spoke. Had a few of the football players there. Yeah,
very
it
cool.
was a fun little event.
Yeah,
Saw our old buddy Putter. Uh,
really
yeah. I don't know if he recognized me, but I saw him from behind the bar.
hmm.
He's the first one in the door.
Inter- interesting.
Yeah, there's a name from the past.
Yeah, what a guy.
But yeah, it was just cool. But it was funny, they had the West Regional Trophy there, so that was cool to
Yeah,
see.
yeah, that's
Um,
cool.
I mean, getting a little talk from a boss lady beforehand, and just like, hey, be professional. No, don't ask the coaches for pictures. They're not here for us. Blah blah blah, that kind of stuff. Which I'm okay. I get it. She's right, but I'm
Yeah.
like, I asked, of course, I'm like, am I allowed to yell at the athletics director to build the arena? Um, that's all I want. That's all I wanted to know. Um,
Greg, build the arena.
right? Where's our arena? Um,
Oh,
but yeah, like you said, it's a good time to be an Alabama sports fan. So let's
yeah, it
hope it
is.
continues.
No, for sure.
Let's see elsewhere in the world of sports. Um, NFL draft. That's what we
It's a big
missed.
event.
So many.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was a big event that we touched on. Of course, Caleb Williams went number one to the Bears. What was it? Jaden Daniels went number two, right, to the
yeah,
Commanders.
right.
Uh, Drake May number three to the Patriots.
Yeah,
It was kind of no, I guess huge surprises. I guess the biggest one actually was
Michael Penny.
the Falcons. Yeah, the Falcons taking Michael Penix, and not that Penix doesn't deserve a first round look, but that he was that high, and that the Falcons took him just after signing
Yeah,
Kirk Cousins this offseason. So
right.
to a
Yeah,
4-year deal at that. Yeah.
you just gave this man a backed up on a Brinks truck and decided to bring in what I would assume picking him at 8 is what you consider your future franchise quarterback. So that'll be
Hmm.
interesting to see how that plays out
Hmm.
in
Especially
Atlanta.
with some of the guys on the board. There was,
Yeah,
a lineman on the board. There was Dallas Turner was there. A lot of people, all the mocks expected him to go
yeah,
there to,
right.
which
And there's
a
a
pass rusher
lot of
his.
there's a lot of needs, a lot of
Hmm.
defensive needs in Atlanta. But I
Yeah.
guess they felt if you're gonna get your franchise guy, you got to get him while you can.
Hmm.
They felt that he was what they wanted, but it'll be
Hmm.
interesting how that plays out because that's one of those decisions that's a career definer. If it doesn't turn in
Yeah.
what they like, it'll be a new front office and not in
Mhm.
4 or 5 years. But it's
Yeah.
interesting.
Very interesting. Yeah. So that's something to watch there.
Yeah,
Other notable picks, Marvin Harrison Jr. went fourth to the Cardinals to get Kyler Murray, a big time weapon there.
yeah, that's
So good for them. Of course, Jim Harbaugh, a lot of eyes on him. His first draft, he picked offensive lineman, which you need to protect your
right.
star.
Yeah,
Of course, let's see, Brock Bowers went to Las Vegas.
yeah.
Bo Nix drafted 12th by
12 to
Denver.
Denver.
Another
Yeah,
another kind of
another
surprise
one. Yeah,
there.
wow.
But the Broncos maybe another team that'll get their guy and maybe he might compete for the starting job right away.
Yeah, right.
They do
I
have
mean,
the other two quarterbacks on the roster, Jarrett Stidham and Zach Wilson. So that sounds like they have a quarterback competition brewing. And
yeah, they definitely do.
um,
But
we mentioned our boy Dallas Turner. He fell all the way to 17th, drafted by the Vikings, and a steal for them.
that's a yeah, that definitely is a steal. Definitely thought he was a top 10 for sure
Hmm.
guy. But yeah,
Well,
definitely.
yeah, he's a top 10 talent for sure.
Oh,
So
for sure.
I see another Alabama guy, Terry Arnold, went to Detroit. Great pick for them. Add to
Oh,
that
huge pick.
secondary. Adds to that culture. Joins former teammate Brian Branch there.
Yeah, the secondary is
Uh,
nice.
hmm
And then they have
Very.
a lot of, I mean, so close to a Super Bowl. So, I mean, they're a franchise that looks to be finally, for the first time ever,
Hmm.
in the right direction for the long term.
Yeah, and good for them.
Hmm.
You see your Cowboys offensive lineman Tyler Guyton from Oklahoma in the first round.
Yeah, I mean, we draft well.
Hmm.
We've done good at drafting, filling the necessary needs. But once again, for us, it doesn't matter what we do till January.
Hmm.
We could go a cool 17-0, and it wouldn't matter.
Yeah, right. It don't matter until you're
Yeah,
playing on Super Sunday.
yeah,
Um, my Ravens got Clemson cornerback Nate Wiggins first round. I was hoping they'd grab Kool Aid there, but
yeah.
I've talked myself into him. I didn't really watch him much this year, but
Right.
some Deion Sanders comparisons. Anytime someone says that, I'll pay attention.
You got that,
Um,
at least,
yeah,
yeah, eye
uh,
opener there. Yeah,
yeah, he's definitely a speedster there. Let's see. Another notable, the Chiefs get Xavier Worthy from Texas, so just a speedster to add to
yeah,
that receiving core.
right.
Crazy. Trying to look at what else happened second round. Let's see. Florida State receiver Keon Coleman went to
To
Buffalo.
Buffalo, that's huge.
Mhm. Lad McConkey, Georgia's receiver, went to the Chargers. So that's an interesting one. They're trying to recoup from trading away all
Losing
their
a
other
whole,
receivers. Yeah.
right, to restarting there,
Um,
but
our boy Kool Aid did end up in New Orleans. I know a few Saints fans very excited about that.
they
Um,
have a heck of a secondary in New Orleans.
hmm Yeah, they're building that defense.
Yeah,
They just need to right that offensive ship there.
right.
Uh, yeah. Anything else on the draft? It's oh wait, of course Alabama had Mr. Irrelevant this year. Jalen Key
Jalen.
to the Jets. But anything on the draft or the NFL offseason you wanted to touch on real quick?
I'm trying to think. No, not too much. I mean, it's just
Yeah, it's kind of like we said. The Penix thing was the big surprise. Other than that,
right.
nothing huge. No like gigantic trades.
No,
Nothing earth shattering really.
no.
Um, I think Alabama got all their guys drafted that we expected to get drafted.
Yep.
Um, yeah, let's see. And that's kind of it for NFL. No big. I don't think we've missed any huge like free agent things or anything.
Can't think of anything too
There's a whole hair.
bad.
The Chiefs kicker. But I think
Yeah.
everybody said everything about that so far. But
Yeah. That.
he's an
I
idiot.
mean, the
Whatever.
Chiefs
Who
have had
cares?
a. I mean, the Chiefs have had a crazy offseason with that, and then
Yeah.
the receiver uh,
Oh,
with his
Rasheed
issues
Rice.
with
Yeah.
receiver,
Oof.
he's had his
Yeah.
issues, and
hmm
we'll see how that plays out. But
hmm
man,
Um,
hopefully he'll get it together because you got to think with him and Worthy, man, that could be a crazy tandem if they get to play together.
hmm
Whew, man.
um, I think let's see. Did T. Higgins officially ask for a trade? Am I right
He
remembering
did.
that? I
He
think
did
so.
ask
Yeah.
for the
So
trade. That'd
yeah.
be
So
interesting.
yeah. Well.
Be interesting to see how that plays out. But
Yeah. Just looking over some of the kind of news headlines. Working back here. Dan Campbell, Lions coach, actually said that Jamison Williams was the most improved player at the Lions OTAs. So
huh,
that's something to look
that's
out for.
that is
That's
wow.
if he can get back to his
Yeah.
Alabama form, that's just
Oof.
another addition for that
That's
Lions
good.
offense.
Yeah.
'Cause
He
you
showed
saw
he showed
glimpses, yeah.
glimpses. We've seen it at times, but man,
Mhm.
they can consistently get there. Man, that Lions team, yeah, they're definitely ones that they built right. And they're on the verge of greatness. It'd be fun to
Mhm.
see if they can, continue. Uh, I'm so close to the Super Bowl this year. I know they most of America behind their back, have their back. I'm definitely hoping they get there. So I mean, it'd be interesting to see. But now
Yeah.
the thing is, people are going to expect things from them, and when that's the difference between good and great teams is once expectations come about, what do you do with it? So we'll see what they
Yeah.
do.
Um, yeah. Let's see. Moving on. Baseball, it's churning along. Of course, some horrible news for Braves fans
Oh
today.
man, I saw
Ronald
that.
Acuna Jr. tore his ACL.
Yeah,
Not the same one he tore
yeah,
2 years ago, the other knee now. So he is
right.
done for the year.
Yeah, that's what
Uh,
you just
yeah,
hate to see it.
a rough time for the Braves.
Yeah,
Relative to expectations, they're still, just second place
yes,
with the Philly. The Phillies have been surging. So, the
yeah,
Braves are now, what, 6 games behind them in the NL East.
right,
I believe the Braves still would be the top wild card, but
yeah,
it's tough. They lost Spencer Strider for the year early. They Sean Murphy went on the DL after opening day, and
hmm
he hasn't come back. Austin Riley's been hurt the past week or so. So a little bit of rough times, and of course losing the reigning
hmm
MVP. Even though he wasn't having that great of a year yet, he was started off cold, but he was
yeah. I mean,
that kind
still,
of potential. Yeah.
we're not even to June
Um,
yet, so
yeah.
people
Exactly.
have
So
plenty of time to turn it on. Yeah, you hate to see it end like that. I mean, that's just one
well,
of those
really,
cruel moments
especially,
in sports, man. You're just like, man, what
yeah, just
the
he was just turning and going back to second
yeah,
base,
yeah,
and it really sucks because after you read the immediate post game stuff, he said, it felt like when he sprained his knee in 2018, he didn't feel any
right,
pop or anything. He limped off on his own
hmm
power, and then they do the MRI, and well, it's
yeah,
complete tear. So,
yeah. And that's the thing with ACLs is,
Mhm.
sometimes you know right away that it's torn, and other times, people walk off and then don't necessarily think it's ACL tear until they actually, get that MRI. It
Yeah,
sucks.
am I remembering right? Did you tear one in high school?
Yeah, I tore mine twice in high school.
Ooh, oof,
First,
man.
yeah, I tore it twice. One time in wrestling practice, that time I knew something was wrong. That time I was just playing basketball at my friend's house, and yeah, that time I felt a little pain, but I was like, it's not that bad. It went like a week, and then wasn't getting better. So then I went to the doctor. Like, yeah, dermatology ACL. I was like, oh, that makes sense.
Mm.
It wasn't nearly as bad as the first time. Like the first time, I just
No.
could. I tried to get up and just fell right back out. Like,
Oh no.
yeah,
Same
so I
knee.
knew something
Same
was
knee.
wrong. Yeah, same knee.
Ooh.
Yeah, so that
Um,
ended my legendary sports career. Nah.
mm. uh,
Ended my pro dreams. Yeah.
what could have been? What could have been?
Hmm.
Uh, but yeah, let's see what else. Your Yanks doing pretty good.
Pretty
Best
good.
record
Juan
in the
Soto is
AL. Oh, the real
been well
deal.
worth a real deal so far. Hope we can lock him up. They've been hitting home runs crazy this year.
Hmm.
Back to Towers. So yeah, for Yankees, it's a matter of staying healthy and getting folks back. Eventually, we
I'm
get
gonna say
Cole back, and
you're telling me about the home runs, man, dude. I'm playing the fantasy this week's got Aaron Judge, and he lit my ass
yeah,
up this week.
yeah, Aaron Jones, Aaron Judge has been crazy, just dropping bombs. Yeah, so
It
it's been
looks like
epic.
Giancarlo Stanton might be getting going too, and that's just
Yeah,
bad news for
yeah.
the rest of AL.
All right. Hopefully, he can stay healthy. If he could ever have a
Hmm.
healthy season, my goodness. It could
Yeah.
be. It's been a great start. A lot of questions coming into the season. After last year's debacle of the season.
Hmm.
I mean, it's been good so far, but we're still in May, so I just hope the injury bug stays away, and we'll go from there.
Hmm.
You know, honestly, I don't. Why I watch, a couple games a week, but to the NBA finals. After that, you really then at that point, baseball's kind of it. But and you really start to watch. I can't say I watched a, a lot of baseball, but man, what I have watched, there's a lot of young stars out there. So they, so it'll be an interesting season.
Yeah. Um, let's see. Elsewhere in the world of sports, Manchester City won their fourth straight Premier League title, first ever English team to do that. Um,
That's something.
Bayern, yeah, it's something. Bayern, of course, now coming up soon. Of course, they have their day in court against all the financial misconduct
Mm-hmm.
allegations. So, be
Uh-huh.
interesting to see what happens there because
All right.
soccer history has really they're not afraid to knock a team down a
Yeah.
level for some shit
Exactly.
like
Yeah.
that. So we'll see.
Interesting.
Um, just had something in my head. Oh, German soccer, Bayer Leverkusen finished the season unbeaten in
Hmm.
German play. A
Oh,
great feat, and they almost did it. They lost in the Europa League final, and then I believe they actually lost the German Cup final as well. So they didn't get the complete unbeaten season, as it were.
oh
No,
no.
they did win the German Cup. So only one
Nice.
loss on the
That's
season as a whole.
that's
They won
amazing.
their yeah, it's insane. Just in the way they did it too. Just an absolute beautiful style of soccer. The club's first ever Bundesliga championship too, I believe.
Nice.
And maybe even the biggest win is actually their coach, Xabi Alonso, not going anywhere. Um, he has turned down offers from Bayern Munich and a couple other big clubs to
Right.
stay and coach at Leverkusen. So
That's
good for
just
them.
yeah.
Yeah. Of course, elsewhere soccer, Jurgen Klopp's reign at Liverpool came to an end. Won the team's first title since the '90s. Huge. really kind of rejuvenated that club. Um, so yeah, I think just the Champions League final coming up on June 1st between Borussia Dortmund and Real Madrid. Of course, they're always there. It seems like.
Right, always,
Yeah, and then we got the European Championships coming up this summer, the Euros, which are always a fun watch.
always good. Yeah,
Yeah, great tournament. And of course, Paris Olympics, the Summer Olympics coming up this summer. Um, Stanley Cup finals or Stanley Cup playoffs going on right
yeah.
now. Let's see what is going on right now. Where are we at?
Stars and stars in the Western Conference Finals. So another Dallas
Oh,
team.
oh,
1-1 right now with
mhm.
and then in the East with the Rangers and
Panthers. Yeah,
Panthers. Yeah,
yeah. Well, it looks
both.
like a bunch of teams going for their first titles in a while.
Yeah,
Let's see. Well, actually, have the Panthers ever won a title? I feel like they have, but um, I know it would be what the Stars' first title
it was
since what
'99.
'99, that Brett Hull
Yeah,
year. Yeah.
yeah.
Um, let's see
Yeah,
the Oilers. I don't think they've won a title since. Ooh, Lord, who
yeah,
knows?
Edmonton has been forever. It's
Yeah.
been a long time. I mean, they're man, just that atmosphere
Mhm.
though when Canadian teams in the playoffs, man, that's
Mhm.
something that's something like it's something about like watching even if you don't know what you're really looking at or
Mhm.
man, playoff hockey is special. Like it's fun to watch. Like
Yeah. Yeah, it would be the last round, the Oilers in Vancouver, the Canucks. That was
yeah,
a great 7 game series.
man,
Yeah,
was it? Yeah,
yeah, I've often said, I grew up playing hockey. I don't have a team I follow anymore, but I'll watch the NHL playoffs anytime they're on.
man, yeah,
It's
they're fun.
always yeah, the
Great
Oilers
playoffs.
going for their first title since the 89-90 season, the
Man,
days of
wow.
Gretzky.
Yeah,
Um, and the Rangers, I believe that first since 94, the Mark Messier team. I don't
my
think
miss.
they've won since then.
No, I don't
Um,
think so.
all these teams have been to the Stanley Cup finals since then,
Yeah,
but I don't think they've ever.
one
Edmonton
is
made it in like '06 or something, or maybe Florida. The Panthers just made it a couple years ago.
yeah.
The Rangers made it about 10 years ago, lost to LA, I think. But yeah, so it's fun times. Yeah, especially once you start getting those overtime games. There's
Man,
maybe nothing more exciting in sports than overtime in a playoff hockey game.
man, it's epic.
It's tense, man. It's
Yeah,
tense.
it was a sudden
Um,
death, boy. Yeah, very intense.
yeah.
And then
I'm about to say we're at the hour mark here. Anything we're missing here? You wanted to touch
probably
on?
yeah. I guess the other big thing, of course, ruling the other day, uh, colleges cannot pay players.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That's probably could do a whole episode on that in itself,
I was
just
about to
with how
say
big
that.
of a landmark decision that is, and that just
Mhm,
changes everything in sports.
mhm. Yeah, it's a huge decision. Yeah, maybe that's something we could touch
We
on
can
next
probably,
week too, a little more
yeah,
in depth. Yeah,
right.
we'll
We
come
could
back to
probably
that.
do a whole lot with that one. Just with
Yeah,
that changes everything. With man,
but
it changes
it's
NIL
definitely,
completely.
yeah, like you said, it's an absolute landmark decision. Changes NIL. Yeah, we'll tell you. Yeah, we'll come back. We'll come back more in depth next week because we could really talk for a while about this, and I'm
Right.
sure we'll need some material to
Yeah.
uh, make sure we fill some time. But yeah, absolutely huge question, and we might even get some more news this week about how that looks.
Right.
Um,
'Cause my
but
biggest thing with that is, with that and schools being able to pay themselves. I mean, you think eventually that has to lead to salary caps. Where does
mhm.
that go? Because I mean, obviously, certain programs aren't going to be able to hang money wise with other programs. So,
Mm-hmm.
does that, and then also, with what does that change scholarships? Does that, I know that there's so much is, going to change, and then expectations. If your players don't live up to, their pay, well, eventually will that be something that gets
Mm-hmm.
taken away? Oh, man, so much, so many questions we have to. We'll see if we'll get answered over time. But man, a lot,
Yeah.
a lot of stuff with
Yeah, for
that.
sure. Yeah, we'll definitely come back to that next week. And that kind of actually reminded me of another big story for guys like us. The official trailer for the NCAA, or I guess the EA college
Oh
football game,
man,
came out last week. This week,
yeah,
it's been a long time coming, and
man, it's been
um,
wow,
I'll,
yeah.
I'll touch up on it again in my done up real good. I'll touch on it again, but it was a beautiful sight to behold. Um,
Man, is it? It's
yeah,
probably
but
the first time I've been
mhm,
excited for a game, and I don't know how long. Don't play a lot of
mhm.
games anymore, but man, this will be one.
Uh-huh.
You start looking, how many days of PTO do I have? Okay.
Right. Yeah. It's like, can I convince the wife to take a kid on a vacation for a couple
All right,
days? Maybe.
right.
Yeah,
Just need a couple of days.
just a couple days. But
Yeah,
I think that's it. Of course, we had the Indy 500 finish today. Some guy won it. I don't know. Uh,
it's a big
I don't
event,
know.
though. It's a
Yeah,
big
it is
event.
big event. The PGA Championship last week. I think the bigger story was Scotty Scheffler getting arrested
Yeah,
than
I
who
think that
won
was the
it.
biggest event of the whole, the biggest thing
It
of the whole
was,
week.
yeah, another shining moment for the Louisville Police Department.
Man,
And just yeah,
yeah,
and yeah, I think we've probably just about hit it all that we can remember anyway.
right.
Um,
Which as much as we had to
yeah,
cover to get it within under our hour 10
I
is
know.
pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty good for us.
Yeah,
So yeah, like we said, next week, of course, we'll talk probably NBA Finals. We'll officially
yeah,
know our matchup then.
yeah,
Might talk, a little bit more. We'll talk Women's College World Series. We'll see the start of the men's NCAA tournament,
yeah,
um, and we'll talk more in depth about the college. We'll kind of study up some, and we'll answer. We'll have some questions, I guess, about
yeah. Because I think
the NCAA
right
being able to
for a
play
while we're
players.
gonna have
Yeah.
a lot more questions than answers just because this is
Yeah.
so new, and it'll be interesting to see what it turns into. Because
hmm
obviously, NIL was a wild, so far it's been a wild, wild west. Nobody really knows where it's going. So it'd be
Yeah.
interesting to see what schools being able to pay themselves, what if that changes or anything, or what
hmm
happens going forward. But man,
Yeah.
whew.
Um, but yeah, so let's go ahead get to the end for the first time in a good number of weeks. Greg, what has been done up real good for you?
Turned out for me really good. Just my kids, daughter ended up the school year with like a 4.5 GPA.
Oh
So
man.
yeah, so she's that's just awesome. Then Tuesday, my son he'll turn 10 and get into the double digits for the next 89 years. So
Oh.
that's yeah. So but
Yep.
man,
Man,
so just
4.5 GPA. I don't know. That might be higher than ours combined in college, man.
yeah. Yeah, yeah. She's pretty impressive. So it'll be fine. And only a freshman, so I mean, sky's the limit. Hopefully those scholarships and everything come through from many different areas, because college is ridiculous.
Woo. Yeah. Right.
Mm.
Um,
How
I
about
guess my
you?
turn. Yeah. Let's say, I mean, I had a birthday this past Wednesday, the big
Yeah,
4-0
you did.
myself.
Yeah,
Yeah. So it's. I think we've talked about before. It's the number doesn't bother me. 40, it's whatever.
right.
It's the thinking back on things. Like
Yeah,
oh, that was 15 years ago now.
yeah.
But
You think, yeah, when you look at something, you like. That one, that seemed like it was just a couple years ago. Yeah, and that was 10 years ago. Wow.
Yeah, it's good though. We're gonna go to Atlanta this week to see a Braves
Nice.
game. Take the kid to the Georgia Aquarium. I'm sure he'll love that. Um, so he'll have fun there. And then the wife, the big present to me, I got the new Xbox. Um,
Oh, that's
so I
great.
will be able to
Just in
play
time.
just in
Just in
time. I
time. Yeah.
already got my pre-order down for it.
Pre-order. Nice.
Make sure I
Nice.
can get my copy. So
Hmm.
that was a big thing this week.
That's the big thing too. Is
Uh,
back in the day we used to have to go. When we played in college, you have to go get the thing at midnight or whatever. Now you
mm-hmm.
have to leave it comfort of your house. So different.
Nope. Yeah. 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 I wonder if they are doing anything. I actually did pre-order a physical copy just to make sure I have it. No,
Yeah.
I just want to see it too. But
Right.
I'm not doing any midnight things. I'll just go pick mine up. The day it
Right.
comes out.
Right. But I remember
Oh,
getting
crazy!
stopped that
Yeah.
line and
Oh man, you had to get there. It was midnight, but you had to get there about 10 o'clock to
at
get a
eight
good
or
spot in
nine.
line.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Um, that was
Exactly.
that was one of the good things about going back to Baltimore in the summers is I didn't really have to deal with that
Yeah.
uh, too much because nobody cared about college football there, so I could just stroll. I didn't even have to
Right.
pre-order it. I could just stroll in, get the
Go
game.
in and get it.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing too is, with this NIL, players are on the game. Think of all the
Hmm.
time people spent putting
I know.
rosters together, or people would buy memory cards with with the rosters. Like it was intense. Yeah,
I did that. I sent mine out. I don't think I had to pay except for like the shipping, but I remember
mm-hmm.
sending my memory card out to a dude and he'd send it back like a week later and had all the.
Have all the name, all the people.
Hmm. Yeah.
Now
I
that's gonna
saw.
come automatic. Like I don't think kids realize how great they have it. We spend so much
Uh.
time
They don't.
trying to
I
put
saw.
rosters together and
I saw a post this week that was like it's like tweet or something. It's like everyone under the age of 25 should have to manually enter all the names of the
oh
players they
yeah,
want,
the
instead of
hours
being
we
able to
spend
get
on that.
Oh
If we had
man,
spent that much time
days.
studying, we've been.
Man,
Oh man,
I
that's
just
funny.
say all I'm hoping for,
Yeah.
I don't care nothing about Ultimate Team or online. I just want that Dynasty mode and just
Oh
let me
man,
change the conferences. Let me bring the
right.
Big East back.
Man, yeah, just
Yeah.
the dynasty mode is something. Just
Hmm.
building small programs up, moving up to the bigger
Hmm.
conferences and stuff. It's so much fun.
Yeah, it was a blast. But that'll do it for us, folks. Thank you for coming back. Thank you for listening. As always, give us all the good subscriptions and ratings and likes and whatever, and tell your friends about us. Tell your rich friends about us. Check out all the other great content on the Alabama Take family of podcasts and our new website, new redesigned website. I had a good few pieces of writing this week. I think some movie or music reviews.
Nice,
No blame in them on taking it down. Got talking a lot of good TV and movies. The boys at the Alabama Slam. I think they got a big week coming up. Two pay per views, the WWE and
yeah,
AEW pay per view to talk about.
plenty to talk about for sure.
Uh-huh. Mallory's back with the stare down. She's released a couple
Nice,
episodes over the past few weeks.
yeah,
So yeah, good time. Uh, but we will see y'all next week. Yeah, thanks for coming back again. We're happy to be back. Greg, good to see you again, buddy.
yes sir. Always
And
good time.
yes, sir. Y'all keep it done up real good out there yourselves. Greg, I'll catch you later.
Yep.